Welcome to tonight's episode of the Come Try Larp National Tournament Single Short Brackets. We're hosted this evening by Anatole and Brett, two of the game's arguably most talented fighters. This episode is sponsored by Gorg the Blacksmith, gorgtech.com. Buy it or die by it. Let's hop right in. Protein and we are recording, by the way. We're not live, but we're running. We are rolling. Welcome back to the next episode of the Come Try Larp. This is the first round of the brackets. Today we are joined on my left, I think, or maybe it's my right, by Anatole. He'll wave here. Sir Warlord Brett on the other side. They're going to call the action. Of course, we will come back through and do some replays of everything. Fellas, let's not wait too long. Let's hop right into it here. I think first up on this particular set, we're going to have Vishiran and Spartan for this particular one. Spartan is going to be on the right, Vishiran on the left. I'll let you guys take it.
Right off the bat, you see Vishiran being a lefty, which always makes things a little bit interesting. Let's see how this goes.
Really low guard from Spartan at first. He's bringing it up.
Very low.
Both guys look tense.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
Looked like Spartan kind of collapsed his guard there.
Absolutely. Chase really extending. I couldn't tell if that was called a Simo.
Okay,
I believe
testing
it
the
was.
middle.
Mm-hmm.
And the inside stab. Beautiful.
Yep.
That was straight. It looked like he had his hand somewhat. What do you call that stab, Brett? What do you call that stab?
I don't know. Inverted?
Inverted, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Let's see.
So yeah, this is the first one that came in that was kind of close. I think maybe Vash just took an arm.
Hits him in the hand.
Goes off the head.
Yep. Yeah, it looked like Vishiran didn't do a great job there of readjusting to the spacing that Spartan was pushing it on him. He kind of reacted, gave Spartan that angle there.
Vishiran is the one in white and black.
Oh, right. My mistake. Yeah. Boom.
That was a very nice little fake to inside stab. I really felt like Vishiran the first time overextended a little bit and maybe kind of got away with one getting that headshot. But this one was played much better. I like that he steps off angle to the outside, so he's fading out of that shot. There's not quite the same chance for a counter that he allowed for that first one. That was just a really pretty shot.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. The way he stepped, the heel toe there, that was classic. Like it, putting your whole momentum into that stab, I think really contributed to that, the success of that.
So you look here. Oh, why don't we go ahead and let's go back and watch the slow-mo of that last stab. So I'd like to see the step as it goes offline. Because I think that's really important. Spartan backing up definitely wants to counter, but these little feints have gotten Spartan to start pulling his hand, which is one of the best times. Like now you can throw a fake and go in.
Oh yeah, look how he brings the back foot up and then steps heel toe. Now Brett, you are a Division I fencer. Tell me a little bit about that lunge step, buddy.
It wasn't bad. He's working on it. You really want to land. When that heel lands, you really would like to bend that knee so that you can actually catch your weight. That gets the win, but theoretically, right after this stab, he's in a very bad spot to be able to deal with a counter. So had Spartan have gotten that block, he may have been in a lot of trouble. It didn't end up that way. He timed it well. He got a good fake and got the shot, but you definitely would want to land on a bended knee instead of keeping it straight and pulling your back leg off the ground.
Right. It was a gamble, right? It was a dive for sure.
And I don't think it needed to be.
No, I agree with you there. It seemed like both fighters maybe a little bit newer, a little bit more inexperienced. Big props to him for competing on such a stage. and of the two, Vishiran had a little bit of the better fundamentals, I would say. That was probably, if this was the story of the fight, I would say that was what got him the W there.
Absolutely. Oh, this will be a good one. A couple of friends going at it.
Feign and Paulo. Now, Feign is super explosive. I've mostly seen him fight greatsword, but man, of the single I've seen is really athletic.
Absolutely. And Paulo, really good feints.
Ooh!
Nice.
Oh, baby.
Great little money.
Oh,
and money again. And
again.
Oh
my
so,
goodness.
Man, the second one is so good. Let's go over this first one. We'll go back to the second, and then we go back to the second one.
Yep.
But because Feign makes an adjustment for this second one, and so let's watch the first and see the adjustment that's made. So Paulo really likes this counterattack. I really love doing these. You set your fake on the person stepping in. Timing wise, when the person steps in, it makes it very difficult for the person to back out of your attack. So they have to deal with it. And it's also very disruptive to whatever Feign was trying to do. With Feign going, with Feign going for a fake there too, he realizes his timing's going to be off if Paulo goes straight. So it makes him feel like he has to pull his hand. It's just a very good disruptive timing.
And I love how he feints to the inside there. Feigning to the inside, especially in single sword, which is probably the riskiest or more inherently dangerous of all the categories, right? If we're talking about Florentine and sword and board, right? A lot of risk involved in single sword. Man, that feint inside draws it perfectly. That is textbook single sword money right there.
Absolutely. So going into the second one, he hits money again. I think the interesting thing is often the weakness of money is that cross side hip. It would be your shield side hip, because a lot of times you're automatically going to throw to block your sword shoulder because so many people throw into it. And it was interesting to see Feign, I think, make the decision, if he's going to money, then I'm going to throw into that hip, and Paulo make the adjustment and make sure he has his arm down there to block.
And that could be kind of the bad thing about being somebody that is really athletic, right? As you see him come in, he springs here, and Feign kind of gets ahead of his hand, right? Bringing his body into Paulo's sword, right? Like, if you're going to explode, if you're going to be athletic, that's great, but you have to fight behind your hand. You have to fight behind your sword, right? Paulo does the counter step in, like you're talking about with that timing. He does that again really well, and Feign kind of brings the hip to him.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I'd like to see change for Feign is, he plays that really aggressive game, but when you're fighting against someone who wants to counter strike and counter time, those big aggressive movements are like everything that they could possibly want, right? And that's why you got to play so much feinting in and out at the edge to make sure you set up those big movements, because when you run into that sort of matchup, those big movements will lose way more than they win. Yeah,
they compromise, right? You're either all in or you're all out. So a little bit of deception on the front end would be, I'd love to see that as well. Toscano and Serva. Oh, that's Tosk. Okay.
It is Tosk, yeah.
All right. Kind of a pretty standard counter procedure there. Yeah. And matched. Big man fight goes high. Toss goes low. Starts pretty heavy. It looks like Serva starts pretty heavy on his front leg there, too.
Yes.
Not really making the most of his, what could be a height advantage, albeit maybe a slight height advantage, but still kind of taking that away from himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tosk this is kind of standard lefty foo, if you will, just that deep wrap and just committing to it. It's a risky move. It's risky kind of in the same way that a money shot is, but if you commit hard for it, a lot of times it can pay off, especially against maybe not the top tier of fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's go back here. I want to look at Tosk's arm position, where his sword is in space. I think he puts it pretty far out to the left. Yep. Yeah, he does. Right. So, yeah, if I'm the big man in white, I definitely recommend trying to engage that hand a little bit more, because once he moves, the sword is pretty much halfway there already, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in general, when fighting a lefty, I'd like to see the guy in white drop his hands to his side and maybe tilt his shoulders to bring his hand a little bit lower. Like, you don't want to bring your hand down while you're still standing straight up, but like cant over a little bit, drop that hand a little bit. Lefties have such a straight line to that hip that if you keep your hand high like you would against a righty, they're going to get there first more often than not. So
Ferrx and Kevel. Oh, okay.
Gavel.
Right. Cavell, okay. Like the movement. I like the movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finding the line.
Maybe a little bigger than I'd want, but
yeah.
Really good movement. Being very patient. I like to see it. Oh, and a very nice little setup there.
Sheesh. Yeah. It looked like he caught his arm coming in as well. Did he go arm to hip? Yeah, on the initial sweep.
We'll have to look at that later. I couldn't tell. I know that the hip definitely landed.
Okay. Oh, he's in his head now.
Yeah. Ferrx feeling really comfortable there. Doing a great job of baiting the counter so that he could push in. Really just overall a very well played fight.
Yeah, Ferrx is moving well. He's finding angles well. He's controlling the initiative, the timing. And once he sees that bone, he goes in, Yeah.
So let's go back and look at this first one, see if he does clip that arm.
So there.
Yeah, so he misses the arm. It's just a feint there. But then beautifully straight to the side.
Look at his body there. Full extension, underneath the arm, underneath the sword. Cavell really doesn't have a lot of options. He tries to go for the Simo. Not a terrible idea when you're that compromised, but he's on his heels. He has nowhere to go.
No, and something that Ferrx does really well here is, like, when you look at his footwork, this is still what I would consider a slight overextension. But look at how when he lands on that front leg, he really bends deep down onto it. It allows him to continue moving immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the fight that we saw earlier, where I think Vash ended up posting up on it, that deep knee bend allows him to be much more mobile and make like an athletic movement after the fact.
Yeah, right. He ends up switching hands because he's not sure once he goes low here if he hits Cavell's arm block. Measure twice, cut once, boom.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the outside. So unnecessary, but in that moment, how can you tell? Good on Ferrx. Another forward step that way. Oh, and he's backing up already. And that's something that I find. Yeah, I find that so interesting, Brett. How well he's feinting with his feet. Really, that first step in. He shows him a little bit of the lunge that he actually killed him with in the first fight, and Cavell reads that and is, oh crap, here he comes.
Yep.
Boom, right there. The big reaction. Good read. Wow.
And
Spacing
I love
is great. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And that as he steps into range, he's throwing that shot. That shot, there's almost no intent of it hitting, right? Like maybe it clips the bottom of the wrist and you get lucky, but he's really just throwing something to try to get a response, gets the response he's looking for, catches the block, and then for the win. It was just kind of textbook.
Yeah. And if you look back at the block that he gets, if you read his body language, He's confident. He knows how this is going to end. Okay, Bell and Mist should be a good one.
Yeah.
Bell kind of getting low, working into middle range immediately.
Really moving his feet. Bell has done a ton of work on getting his feet moving better. You really see it.
Oh, I love that he's pushing that offside. Pays for it. Pays for it.
Ooh.
Good read on Mist part. Mist being patient.
Oh.
Follows him back.
Yep.
What was that? Was that a Simo?
I could not. I thought Bell got it. I thought Bell got the block, but I don't know what the call was.
Okay. Good blocks on Bell. Goes right back into that mid range. Look at the spacing on Bell. He's staying right at the edge of range.
Absolutely, he's doing really well. Mist is doing a decent job of tracking. I feel like Mist is not backing up well when he needs to. Like he gets a movement in, but he's not coming out like I'd like to see him.
Panicky, isn't it?
Can we go back and watch that? I didn't see.
Yeah, I see what you mean though. It's a little frantic. Whereas when you watch when Bell backs up, Bell is taking smaller steps, keeping his center of balance, his center of gravity, essentially still up and down, which allows him to respond so well. Mist doing a great job of testing that, but when Bell returns, right inside. Yeah, right
that
inside.
Was a very nice block encounter by Bell.
Yeah. And a sneaky line, right? A very sneaky line up and into the armpit.
Yeah. So I guess that first one was a Simo, so we've got it probably 1-0 Bell right now, I believe.
Ooh, just missed her.
So close.
This is some pretty decent swordplay here.
Oh, and I think that one caught right there. No?
Under the wrist, maybe? No, I guess it hit the hand.
It probably hit the hand or the pommel.
I love this pressure that Bell is putting on Mist here. Every time Bell goes out, he immediately comes right back to the edge of that range, keeping Mist engaged. Mist is doing a good job, though. Mist is a gamer. She's still threatening that ground. Look at this.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. Look at that.
Bell again getting her with the block counter strike. Was that to the arm? Or was that
parry off the stab too? That's hard to do. That's hard to do on the back foot.
Yep. Yeah, and then it goes outside. He loses the arm for it, but that's 2 in a row. Very nice parry riposts.
Yeah. Great fights. Great fights.
Just this I might get drowned out, but it might be fine. Are y'all ready?
All right. What do we have here? So we've got Bino and New Mike. Both of these people being lefties. I remember at this turning a very large number of lefties. I think at 1.3 of the top 4 were lefties or something.
Yeah, right. I think you're right about that. Drogon, Bino.
Yep.
Yeah. Looks like he catches a little bit of head coming in there.
Yeah. Bino obviously having to close a little more range to fight against New Mike. New Mike longer and lankier.
And I think that you see. See, that was great.
Yes.
I think you see Bino leaping a little bit, his weight going a little too forward, but when he gets into that mid-range, you can kind of see the skill disparity between these two fighters.
Absolutely. He seems to be a little over aggressive on those first couple of closes. May just be a little nerves. Oh, goes for it again. I think he makes it. He thinks he gets it there, or was it a Simo?
Hard to tell. I like that. I like playing towards the hand.
So in single sword, I think it's the most important thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a tendency to want to go for body shots and want to end quickly, but you got to cross that range first.
Yep. Yeah, and I think people don't, you underestimate how much you can control a fighter by threatening his hand, right? You begin to dictate the pace. All right.
Oh, wow. Look at the bend on that. Boom. But Bino powers through, comes up under. Bino's still leading a little bit with his shoulders. I'd like to see him get a little bit lower. Yeah, and New Mike just maintains the range. Pivots.
Yeah. Bino knows he's got a range gap that he needs to close. I'd like to see him play a little bit slower to get there, a little more feinting, a little bit more trying to draw the attack, because you're going to see in this next fight, I believe he draws the attack from Mike, and it's an easy counter for him, right? So Mike's able to step in. He just takes the arm block.
1.
Right.
And then 2. The follow-up. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, I agree with you there, Brett. I think, let me see. It might be on this one. New Mike takes a swipe at him, I believe. And Bino's spacing. It might not be on this one, but I agree with you because Bino's spacing is so good. And right there. See, he could take his time. He's starting to fight at a safe range. He's getting New Mike to react. He's making reads. And then he's sort of jumping the gun. It feels like a little bit, taking unnecessary risks.
I feel like he is forcing his closes rather than controlling when he closes, if that makes sense. I'd like to see him make New Mike do something and close off of what he's making him do. Whether that be, I'm threatening your hand enough that I know that you're going to pull your hand when I feint so I can step in. But right now it feels a little bit like he's just going for it.
Yeah, and one thing that we're not bringing up is lefties don't often fight other lefties, right? So there might be a little bit of like, shit, what am I trying to do here? Going on. But, again, once you see Bino get into the middle range, Mike is throwing big, high shots. He needs to be either keeping the space or getting down on the level with Bino. Bino has the straighter shots, the better form, and Mike out. Good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's my boy Blaze.
Yeah. Blaze versus Turek Feign.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like the movement right off the bat. Kind of a wild shot from Turek Feign. Blaze takes advantage.
Yep.
Oh, he gets too low. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, way too low. Yeah.
So, watching this first one, I feel like this is an example that we were talking about last time. Turek is aggressing. He knows he's got some ground to cover, but he's just kind of doing it whenever he's not setting it up. He's not controlling how the close is going to happen, so he's just going in. And then Blaze, this is the same timing we were looking at earlier, throws his counterattack into a person stepping forward, makes it very difficult for the person to do anything about it, and gets the kill.
Yeah, Blaze is such a nice guy, but he's a killer. He has all the instincts right there. You see Turek Feign get low, too low. Blaze tests the ground. Oh, you're not going to back up? You can't because you're too low at far range. Your sword is too high. He sees it and he's on it.
Yeah. The thing I love about this setup is actually his first little lunge in. He kind of goes for nothing, but then he stands up like he's leaving, but stays in range to then immediately lunge again at a range that was very difficult for the person at that point to back out of, right? So that first lunge doesn't look like much, but it stole range, and it stole it in a way that it felt like he had left again.
And it showed Blaze everything he needed to know in that moment, right? You saw Turek Feign get real low. When he takes this step in, Turek gets lower. and then
Yep.
he's on his heels, and Nate knows what to do in those situations, obviously. I would really like to see Turek stay a little bit lighter on his feet. Here we go. Drogon and Saul.
I think
Lefty
those
versus
names
righty. Yeah, Drogon is the one in gray with the eyeballs on his tunic.
Yes.
A lot of testing out here. This is a lot of sword play. I like Saul's
Drogon.
forward foot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about that, Brett. Sorry about that, Brett. Go ahead.
You're good. Saying Drogon fighting sword leg back and single sword, very uncommon.
Mm-hmm. You got to appreciate that, though. You got to appreciate someone that's willing to try to be creative, try to throw a different look, try to attack the mind and the perception as well as the body of the opponent. Getting low.
Yeah, I was going to say, in general, I feel like Drogon's legs, he's keeping his feet under him much better. Bending his knees, making sure that he can move. Saul standing a little high, tending to lean a little bit farther forward, which is, it can be okay with the bent knees, but with the straighter knees, it plants you a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, good exchange there.
I think that was that arm or was that Simo?
I couldn't quite tell.
We'll see it on the replay here.
Yep.
Drogon again taking the back foot forward stance. I feel like Drogon is really trying to draw Saul into an exchange, into reaching, right?
Yeah, I feel like it. Now, he did just pay for it. That's what just happened there is kind of what you expect to happen out of someone playing swordfoot back.
Drogon does not look phased, though. There he goes again with it. Stepping forward, switching the stances, giving different looks. I see what you mean. Saul is getting a little heavy there.
Yep. And his movements are actually pretty good, but his when he gets stationary, he's not in a good position to deal with someone else's movement. So, like, he needs to make sure that he's not going straight in between his movements.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you kind of see his game plan when he slows down a little bit, right? He's not offering Saul a lot of different looks as far as aggression goes.
Yep, and I believe that one was a Simo, if I caught that right. I'm waiting to see I want to see if Drogon does something with this goofy foot forward. He switched back.
Ooh, did you see that around the Drogon's feeling himself here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really trying to play with range with his feet.
A little bit like the last fight we watched too with Blaze. It looks like Drogon kind of feels the space there at that last exchange. Great block.
Very nice block. And then, so Drogon gets that for an arm.
Oh, no. He's calling it on the line. Good call. Simo.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
Good call. Good call.
Very
I
nice
think
call.
if Saul would have stepped to his left, I think he would have just taken the arm and been able to kill Drogon there.
Yep. So I want to relook at this one because this was, when it happened fast, it was hard to tell what happened. Drogon starts with a really nice stab. Does he just hit directly hand? Is that what's happening? Oh, or it pushes off and misses. So is that going?
Is that forearm or is that pec?
That might be his bicep area. Oh, I think it's bicep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's bicep.
Hard to say, but I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a nice stab.
Looks like he got him in the crook of the elbow, actually. I think.
And then I think Drogon follows it up with another shot and gets hit in the arm for it. So I think Drogon took that one.
Yeah, if I could tell Saul one thing to do, it would be to move his feet while he's being defensive He's being a little too reactionary.
Yeah, he definitely feels like he wants to be able to stand still. Like it's almost a goal. It's like, I'll move around if you make me, but if you don't, I'd like to stand still. And that means that you're not doing much to influence the movement of the other person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Right.
As much as you want to go into these kind of fights with a certain game plan or a specific, idea of what's about to happen, combat is chaos, right? Yeah. You have to be able to adapt on the fly here. And that's a whippy sword. Boom.
Yep, takes the arm and goes under.
Yeah.
So if I was going to say another thing for Saul, he got killed by this twice, and I died to it to Lefty's way too much, and it took me like 2 years to fix this. After that outside block, you cannot extend high with your follow-up shot because they will just throw a second shot into your ribs. You have to keep hand in good positioning and then throw generally to forearm or something because it makes sure your sword stays in line for the follow-up. I cannot tell you how many fights I have lost because I blocked a hard outside and went like, here we go, baby.
Yeah.
And then they just threw again while I was wrapping the shit out of them, and I lost. So
yes, I mean, Saul went for it too, right? I think both his feet were almost off the ground at one point, but Drogon makes the read, scoops underneath. Again, I would like to see Saul be able to, if he's on the back foot, be able to take some angles to change the fight, right? Yep. To reset the initiative a little bit. Good on Drogon. I like the creativity. I like the wackiness of it.
It has been a lot of fun, guys. That was it. 8 fights in and out.
Wow.
All right.
It's my first time with the 2 angles, so I hope it plays back well and does well. I appreciate you guys joining us. Anatole, where can we find you if we want to look for you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can. I got a podcast called Stab Chats, all about foam fighting and whacking. Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Stab Chats. Come by.
Awesome.
Drop me a line.
We'll get we'll get links down below for everybody. Brett, are you online anywhere that you're looking to be located, or are you just generally out there kicking ass?
I mean, I got most of the content I'm putting out currently is for steel fighting. If you want to check that out, you can just look up Brett Skinner, and it's under my name for that. Warlord Weekly is still up and still has foam fighting advice if you're interested. Otherwise, thank y'all for watching.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Guys, this, as the entire tournament is sponsored by Gorg, buy it or die by it. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time. Have a great night.
Thanks.